Welcome back, everyone, to On.net. I'm your host, James Montemagno, and today we're going to be talking about how we can extend Copilot for M365 with the Teams Toolkit and .NET. This is a super awesome piece of technology that I really can't wait to talk about and hear from one of my best friends in the world, Ayca. How's it going, Ayca?
Hi, James. So great to be here again on .NET channel. So I'm so excited to share what's new with Copilot for Microsoft 365. I'm sure this topic is super new for everyone and looking forward to talk about more.
Yeah, and we've talked a lot about the Teams Toolkit. We've had some of your colleagues on, so this is sort of some new tech that I'm excited to show off. So I'm going to let you just go right into it. Sounds good?
Sounds great. Awesome. Let's jump right
All
in.
right, cool. Go for it.
All right, so hi everyone. Quickly introduce myself. My name is Ayca Bas. I'm a cloud developer advocate at Microsoft. And today we will talk about how we can extend Copilot for Microsoft 365 using Teams Toolkit and .NET. We will bring our enterprise data in Copilot for Microsoft 365. And to do that, we will actually create some Teams apps. And I'll show you how we can do it. But before we jump in how we can extend Copilot for Microsoft 365, I just want to introduce what is Copilot for Microsoft 365. It's actually AI-powered productivity tool that uses LLM behind the scenes and integrates with your data in Microsoft 365 using Graph. So that means that any Microsoft 365 app you use today, Outlook, OneDrive, Teams, then Copilot for Microsoft 365 will have access to it through Microsoft Graph, and you will be able to summarize your emails or ask for some files to Copilot for Microsoft 365. So the question comes, what if I want to extend Copilot for Microsoft 365 experience? And what if I want to bring some external data to it so I don't need to go to multiple different LLM applications? So that's what today's session is about. We are going to talk about how we can extend Copilot experiences. And generally, we have two main ways of extending Copilot. The first way is Microsoft Graph connectors, and the second way is plugins. And today, specifically, we will focus on plugins, but I will tell you the differences and when to use which one. The main reason why we are, again, extending Copilot is to bring your external data into Copilot as well, so that not only you can search your emails, documents, but you can also search your external data using Copilot for Microsoft 365 without going to any other application. That's the main idea behind it. And which to use when is a critical area, because both of the options help you bring your external data into it. But plugins, if we focus on plugins, it is for real-time data access, and the data is read and write. So we can actually work with the data, and we can send some adaptive queries, ask some information, and we can send some data out. And data lives anywhere, not only on Azure, Microsoft Cloud, but it can be also in external storages, databases. You can bring your existing data wherever it lives through plugins using on Copilot for Microsoft 365. Another way of bringing the external data is graph connectors. It is definitely easy to create graph connectors, and we ingest data from your external data into Microsoft Graph, and data lives inside Microsoft 365. This way of ingesting data through graph connectors is read-only. If you are looking for only searching your data and bringing your existing data and maybe looking up for it, Copilot for Microsoft 365 gives you this option as well, and you can use graph connectors too. So today, as I mentioned earlier, we're going to talk a bit deep dive about plugins. And the reason is that we want to bring enterprise data and we want to interact with our data real time. That's the biggest reason why we are using plugins. And I will also show you how we can create one. So how do we build a plugin? I'm sure most of you are aware of Teams Toolkit, and we also had a lot of sessions about Teams Toolkit for Visual Studio. The way of creating a plugin is actually dividing into two areas. One is pro code, the other one is low code. In pro code, we create Microsoft 365 app, and the app is actually message extension. Maybe you're already aware of message extension. It's definitely not new. Message extensions were out there for a really long time, and we are able to create them using Teams Toolkit. And today we will create one using Visual Studio with C#. And also you have low code options. You can use Power Platform and Microsoft Copilot Studio if you're interested in going to low code environment as well. Okay, before we dive a bit deeper with the scenario, I just want to show you how you can get started building a plugin, meaning a message extension using Visual Studio and Teams Toolkit and .NET. Okay, let me quickly switch to my other screen. Just 1 second. Okay, there we are in Visual Studio 2022. Okay, what I will do quickly is I will create a new project, and then I'll select Teams app. And next, I can call this anything, for example, sample plugin. I'll select create. Here, as I mentioned earlier, we're going to create message extension. And the type of message extension is going to be custom search results. I will create this and quickly show you how a message extension looks like. If you've never seen before, don't worry about it. It's pretty straightforward, and we will F5 and show you how the experience looks like on Teams. So quickly, here under search folder is our main file, searchapp.cs. This is the main place where we do this, where we create the search experience. And this template comes with on Teams messaging extension query async. And here we use one adaptive card, and then we create a text, and text being the query user input, and we get the value of user input in text, and we search using find packages function. Let's quickly go there and check what this function does. This mainly makes an HTTP call to an API. We make a search in Azure Search NuGet, meaning that we are actually searching NuGet packages by using this message extension. And we return ID, version, description, project URL, and icon URL. So this is a very straightforward experience. We are making one API call, and then we are retrieving the data through this API call, and then we are just showing the result with adaptive card. Let me quickly run this. Before that, I need to select a dev tunnel. I created the one before, and then I will right-click to the project, select Teams Toolkit, prepare Teams app dependencies. You should select the account you want to create your app dependencies, so that we'll be able to create AD app for our bot, and we will create bot framework, and everything actually behind the scenes is generated by just this app dependencies. You can learn more about this lifecycle provisioning and everything behind the scenes. It's actually under infra. You can check and dive deeper what we're doing with Teams Toolkit behind all this.
Yeah, and that's pretty cool too, because we did some videos on that. So if people do want to deep dive really into the details there, we have a whole bunch of videos, and I'll make sure that I link them below as well if you're interested in those deep details, for sure.
Definitely, yes. That was so great, James. Thank you. Okay, seems like we're good to go. I will you can hit F5 for Microsoft Teams browser, and then this will initiate our message extension, or any Teams app actually, on Teams. And we will be able to debug and see how the experience looks like. For today, I will only show you how a message extension experience looks like. So we will just dive deeper with another scenario. But for this, I will add my Teams app, and then I'll start using it right away. Or I can debug and test if I want to. Okay, so there we are in a chat environment. I will click plus, and then I will select sample plugin local. I can search any NuGet package. I'll type Azure. It's the safest. And I'm sure I have a bunch of them already. Okay, there we go. We have a list of NuGet packages available. I can pick one and send it to my colleague, Rabia. So this is pretty much what plugin is. And as of today, if you create a message extension, you should be able to use this message extension as a part of Copilot for Microsoft 365 too. So I should be able to test this message extension in Copilot for Microsoft 365, but I'll show you in a couple of scenarios so you'll understand why would you actually build one and use it as a plugin. Okay, so I'll switch back to my slides quickly. So this scenario, I'm sure most of you are already aware, it's a pretty popular scenario, custom ChatGPT with enterprise data using Azure OpenAI and AI Search, meaning that developers can build their app UX, chat app UX, and then use Orchestrator and also use Azure OpenAI to build their own ChatGPT experiences. And they can also plug in Azure AI Search and plug in any data sources through Azure AI Search to make a query to their data sets. So what we're offering today is actually a bit simpler than this overall architecture, meaning what if you don't need to create your custom ChatGPT? Instead, you use Copilot for Microsoft 365 as the custom ChatGPT. So in this case, our app UX and also chat experience and Orchestrator, OpenAI, like any kind of ChatGPT experience will be the responsibility of Copilot. And the only thing we are going to build is a message extension, and we will plug in Azure AI Search, and we will make search to any data source we have. It can be files, videos, images, databases, meaning that any sort of data living on Azure today, I can bring Azure AI Search into my message extension, and I can make a search and reach out to my data sources right through Copilot for Microsoft 365. And another important way I want to mention is that I'm using Azure AI Search here, and the biggest reason is that I can bring in hybrid search experience in Copilot for Microsoft 365. And I also quickly want to highlight why hybrid search is pretty important, because the advantage of vector search is actually finding the information through similarity instead of making a direct keyword search. And also, advantage of keyword search is precision. Every time I make a keyword search, I'm 100% sure that with semantic ranking, I'll be able to reach out to that data. And as of today, Copilot for Microsoft 365 has already semantic index behind the scenes. Hybrid search, combination of vector and keyword, will bring me the strength of both worlds. Actually, it can perform better together with both experiences, vector and keyword. So that's the reason why I want to enable Azure AI Search, and also with Azure AI Search, I should be able to use hybrid search experience in my projects. Let me give you an example. Let's say that I have a data source. To do all this architecture, I'm going to have to create embeddings for my data. And then with that data, I will create index for my data in Vector DB using Azure AI Search. To create embeddings, I'm going to use Azure OpenAI ADA model. And once my data is ready with all the embeddings, then I will create embeddings for my query, user input. So every time user asks something, I will actually create embeddings version of that text, and then make hybrid search with that embeddings on Azure AI Search, and then I will return response, and then Copilot will respond to the user with text, document, image, video, anything they want. So let's think about a specific scenario. For example, call center scenario. Let's think that we have an e-commerce company, and there's always customers calling to check their orders or give feedback, complaint, and so on and so forth. What we want to do is we maybe record all these call center communications between agents and client in a text format in documents. So let's say a manager or a customer agent wants to search something from the previous calls. They ask like any customer complaints recently, and we convert this text into embeddings. So it's going to look like an embedding. We will send this to Azure AI Search. We will make hybrid search behind the scenes. And then Azure AI Search will return us some data about this question. And I just want to highlight, even though customers calling don't use the word as complaints, we will be able to find this information. And as you see here in the text, it's saying, I've been an Echo Groceries customer for years, but I've never had such a problem with an order before. There's no complaints as a word, but with the power of vector search and semantic search together, I should be able to find customer complaints right away in text, which is super powerful. And that's the scenario we're going to talk about today.
Sort of the overview of what a lot of developers have to do today and how sort of the Copilot for M365 fits in, which is awesome.
Yes, cool. Thanks, James. This is definitely amazing. So I'm just going to show you how developers can get started with this sample, and there are more samples available. I'll also share that information. Okay, so this sample is available in a repository Copilot for Microsoft 365, and the first one is docsearch C#. Any developer today can go to this repo and clone this and get started using this plugin right away. I already cloned this, and I should be able to show you how hybrid search works behind the scenes. Let me jump right into Visual Studio. Okay, here I have two main files. Let me close this README, and then I'll zoom in. I have the search app. It's a regular search app. And then I have AI Search to handle Azure AI Search client. Let's quickly go to search app. Here, instead of making an API call, we are actually sending the query to semantic hybrid search function. Let's go to this function. This function initializes Azure AI Search client and then generate embeddings with our query. And here to generate embeddings, we're using OpenAI client. And we also use search options. We send the query and our embeddings through search options. Once we create the embeddings, we get response with title, content, URL, and file path. Okay, so I have 8 documents here. Before we jump into the hybrid search experience, I just want to show you how you can test the sample, how you can create your embeddings from your data. These documentations are just a prototype. You can use these documentations or your own documentations just to test this sample. So I'll show you how you can create Azure AI Search and create your embeddings with this data. Let's go to Azure. I already have Azure OpenAI Studio open. I will choose upload files in the add data source. Here you will need blob storage, and then you will also need Azure AI Search resource. You need to put a unique index name here. I'll put call records docs. I will select add vector search to this search resource, and I'll choose ADA model and select next. Here you can drag and drop your files and upload files. I already did that step. I just want to show you that I select hybrid vector keyword, and we will save. Let me go to Azure AI Search and show you how it looks like actually once you upload it. We chunked all the data, and it looks like in an embedding format. What we're going to do right now is whenever our users asking a question to Copilot, we will convert their data to embeddings. We will make search, and then we will retrieve the related data from Azure AI Search and show it to our customers. But before all this and showing this in Copilot, I also want to show you how this existing message extension looks like in a normal message extension way. Okay, so let's go back, and I will close this folder, right-click, Teams Toolkit, prepare Teams app dependencies. And once we are done with the app dependencies, I will run this app just like another message extension and show you how we actually do hybrid search in this message extension. Okay, we are done. I will hit, first I'll select tunnels and then I'll hit Microsoft Teams. And here I should be able to show you that even though the words we use are not available in the documents, we should be able to get the related documents from the call records. I add Ayca Groceries call center, and then I will hit plus Ayca Groceries, C#, and then I'll type any customer complaints. Here we have a bunch of files. I'll select this one. As you can see, it shows up in an adaptive card. We also share the PDF. You can open the PDF and see what is inside this call record. Let me show you how things work when we debug. Let's debug this hybrid search so that you will understand the flow a little bit better. Again, I will type the same thing, any customer complaints. And here, let's see that semantic hybrid search, we create the search index client. And after that, we generate embeddings. Here, we are using ADA model from Azure OpenAI. And once we create our response from our text, it should look like an embedding. As you can see here, it's list of embeddings. Okay, and after this, we will send search options and return response. So in that point, I'm just going to click F5 and show you that the results are showing up here. Okay, so the same experience is supposed to work on Copilot for Microsoft 365. Before we jump into showcasing this plugin, this message extension working on Copilot for Microsoft 365, I just want to explain you one thing. How does Copilot work with plugins? As you can see, we have Copilot UX. Our chat experience is Copilot here. That means that Copilot, whenever user asks something in natural language input, Copilot searches for relevant tool. In this case, our relevant tool is Ayca Groceries call center, and then finds reasoning, map users intent to slots, and then execute the tool. Once we executed the tool, we return the response from Ayca Groceries call center and then send the response to our user. In this case, our Ayca Groceries call center behind the scenes, we actually run Azure AI Search and then retrieve the relevant data through Azure AI Search using hybrid search. Okay, let me show you how this experience works on Copilot. So anyone can enable their message extension as long as you have the permissions to use Copilot. You can enable your message extensions and you can start testing it out. I will enable my message extension and then I can ask, are there any complaints about Ayca Groceries recently? This is supposed to return me relevant results. And the reason why we are getting 3 responses every time is because I limited the search options to 3 only. Maximum, we are going to see 3. As you can see here, we again got 3 files. So here you can see the adaptive card by hover over to the numbers. The first one is, again, client agent. The second one you can see and read through the adaptive card. The third one you should be able to see in an adaptive card. So all of these are also available as a part of the reference. You can also get the PDF files in the reference. Okay, let's ask something more specific. For example, we can ask something special to the order number, such as, can you share more information about order number 765432 at Ayca Groceries? Obviously, this is a fake number. Then we should be able to see any information about the specific order as well. As you can see, John Williams called and we have a record with his request as well. So here, as we're seeing, we can see multiple response from our sample, or we can retrieve actually one single response and we can show this in adaptive card experience too. So this is only one sample available in our gallery. I also want to show you that we have sample solution gallery, and we have a bunch of other plugins and connectors available for you to test out also in .NET. If you go to aka.ms/community/samples, you should be able to find out this sample and also others available. So looking forward to hear what you think. What is your experience? And also, don't forget to reach out if you see any challenges or if you have any feedback. Definitely here to talk about more.
Awesome. That's so cool to kind of see the full end-to-end story as well. Because I think sometimes when I come into building an application, I think to myself, like, how much work do I need to do? But it's actually really nice to see that not only if I'm used to building Teams apps, the amount of code that you actually need to generate, these sort of queries, to talk to OpenAI and then to integrate into M365 Copilot are like very minimal, and it kind of just works into your flow. So really advancing that technology is cool to see. One question I have for you is, let's say now, right, you've taken those documents, right, you showed how to index them. What's the normal process? So now at this time, if I want to just add more, would it just re-index basically everything? So it's like, okay, hey, we're every night or whenever we're uploading those, is that the normal flow that they would go through? And then it would just know about it, I guess?
Exactly. So what I showed is definitely not for the production. I drag and drop and use Azure OpenAI Studio, but you can actually automate that behind the scenes by just creating an indexing. You can use .NET for that. You can just create a job for recurrence and create new files behind the scenes. We can also suggest that, for example, you keep all of your data in a blob storage, and then you create recurrence on Azure, and you create vector index every time blob storage renews with the new files. So I think that would be more suitable for production level. But this is only a sample just to showcase the scenario.
No, it's great. Yeah, it's exactly like, as a developer, I like the give me the easy button, right? Just like drag and drop some things. Let me dev it. And then talking about that pro scenario is great. Well, Ayca, thank you so much for coming on and showing this all off. Of course, we'll put links to everything below, and we'll also link to those other Teams Toolkit videos as well. Ayca, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, James. Thanks for having me. Maybe I'll see you again another time. Thanks.
Awesome.
Bye.
And thanks everyone for tuning in. And don't forget, if you're over here on the .NET YouTube, to hit that subscribe button so you stay up to date every single time we put out videos right here on the .NET YouTube. Well, that's going to do it for this one. So until next time, I'm James, and this has been on .NET.